All right, let's get to the next part of the bootcamp. We're going into structure of a Solidity file. So first thing you inside a Solidity file, usually you is gonna see SPDX license identifier. So all Solidity contracts should have a license declaration in the first line. So something like this: SPDX dash license dash identifier colons and something, right? Usually you see a lot MIT. However, you do see BSL here and there, like recently with a lot of protocols. So yeah, but you know, there's a I attached list inside the bootcamp, so you can check out lists of licenses from SPDX repository on all the possible values. You can put anything. It's a comment. And missing the SPDX license identifier, you're missing this comment, would not make your Solidity file cannot be compiled. However, usually the compiler would issue a warning that you're missing a license identifier for you to add in. However, it will still compile. You can add a lot of stuff in. You have all these options here: GNU, MIT, etc. Right? So pick one. MIT is probably super popular because it's very typically used for that. I would also, if you join the community, I probably can talk to you, explain you a bit more on what kind of license should be used, but you see MIT quite often. Thank you. Okay, next one, inside your Solidity file structure, you're going to see pragma. So pragma is a keyword used to declare compiler version of Solidity, right? So pragma only applies to current local file. So for every single file, every single Solidity file you have in your project, you have to add the pragma Solidity 0. something, right? Right now, Solidity I think is 0.8.28. That's the highest. It's up to you what version you want to use. Usually it relates to different hard fork on the Ethereum side. So then, but for PolkaVM it's different. So then this is something that we're still waiting for more documentations coming out regarding Solidity for like versioning at the moment. However, I see you look into contracts.polkadot. I will issue more explanation and elaboration on this part later on. But you just keep in mind, you would see what you would see in Solidity file. You're gonna start SPDX license identifier something, and that's a comment, and then right below you're gonna do pragma Solidity something. You can use this sign, the power exponent sign in this, the hat sign, all comparison operators in conjunction with the compiler declarations for you to kind of specify how you use it, right? So you can do something like pragma Solidity hat 0.8.20, which means you use compiler version 0.8.20 and above, right? You can do something like pragma Solidity bigger or equal to 0.4.22 and less than 0.9.0, which is you use compiler version bigger or equal to 0.4.22 but less than 0.9.0. So use something like this because you want to, tell your, tell all the developers that, hey, please only use compiler version above this, but less than this. The reason why, because because the compiler changes, right? So the compiler changes, so that means that sometimes there'll be like functions that will get deprecated, or behavior of the compiler that gets deprecated. So you want to specify that. Usually, as good practice, you probably want to specify only one version of the compiler, which is a lot better than doing in ranges. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but I personally would recommend you to just declare as one version. You have to use this exact version and don't use any other ones, right? That's usually is my recommendations. Of course, situation changes, depends on what you want to do, so up to you, okay? That's my recommendation. Okay, for the next part, we're gonna go into this part called import file from other sources. So for you to manage a project, sometimes you don't want to put everything in one Solidity file, or sometimes you want to break your massively big a contract into smaller pieces for management, right? Like for you to manage different contracts, for you to kind of manage, but then you need to import them, right? You need to import the interfaces, you import the things into your auto files. So Solidity does allow you to import file from other sources. You can import the whole file, which is import. You just import the whole file name, right? Put it in and done, right? You can import on and assign alias to that. You can import something like, you can use this syntax, import star as something, right? You put a simple name and then from something file. So you import contract, you import those ones in. You can do name import, which is this is something that you probably should be doing. So name import means you specify the name of the import object from another file. The reason you should use this option is to make your code clearer. For example, you're importing one contract from another file, from another Solidity file. You want to say import contract one inside a curly braces from, for example, contract one.so, for example. So then you specifying, because sometimes your file name.so would have multiple contracts in it. And so you want to like, okay, I only want to import one contract from it. So you want to do name import. Name import is recommended. You can also add alias into your name import as well. You can also do multiple imports for the name import from one file. So you can do something like this. Contract one as alias, contract two, etc. Right? So you can do these things with Solidity. Yep. Okay, and the next part inside your Solidity structure is comment. Very, very important. To comment, you can use the double slash, or you can do slash, star, and then comments inside, and star, slash. So the 2 slash is for comment for one line. And you can do this whole slash, star, comment for multiple lines, and then star and slash for you to close it. So that's the, it's actually multi-line comments, right? There's something super important inside Solidity is the netspec comment with 3 slashes. All you do with the slash, 2 stars, slash for closing. So netspec comment is extremely useful. One is pretty clear. You can see an example here. There's also the detailed specs inside this link. You can click on it. You go to this page. You see a lot more elaborate on that part. So netspec comment provide like details. For example, a simple storage contract like this. You have the author. You have a title. You have descriptions. You have so on. For you to kind of describe who wrote this one, who's the author, what is this contract is about. You can do something like you specify something. You specify the behavior of the functions, like in the input param. You input the X, and like a dev is for you to address all the developers reading your code. This is what it does. Same as this one, you can address. You can also specify the return of the functions. Right. So there's a lot of things about netspec comment. Is extremely good for the auto-generated documentations for your code, because Solidity code very likely in the ecosystem, Solidity code is very likely open source. So then this extremely is super helpful for you to just auto-generate it, like a bunch of documentations using netspec comments. Right? So with these, if you have a schema, auto generations can happen like super quick.